Good morning.
Good morning.
Indeed, it is a good morning because this time next year, children all across the state will have had almost a year of regaining their lives back. Because right now they've been held captive by powerful forces, intentionally, by the companies that have designed them, particularly when it comes to the social media companies that fought long and hard to stop us in our effort last year, where we fought and won and said no longer will children in the state of New York be bombarded with addictive algorithms and all night long messaging and having their private information sold. So we said you can no longer monetize our children's mental health. But how does that information bombard them? It is in something small, it is simple, and it sits in their hand all day long. And that is their cell phone, their smartphone. And so I'm proud to be here today at NYSUT headquarters with an extraordinary champion who fought long and hard to bring us to this place as well. Shoulder to shoulder, we marched together. And Melinda Person, your leadership in this has been extraordinary. And I also want to recognize a number of elected officials we have in the room. Senator Pat Fahey, thank you, Senator, for your support in Albany. Also, our County Executive Dan McCoy has joined us. Thank you for such a strong interest in helping out our children as well. And we're going to have a great conversation with representatives from the region, our school superintendents and their union representatives. But Albany went first with starting it off for the summer school program. And we want to hear about how that's going. And I was struck when I saw a quote from one student who said, "It keeps me more locked in for all my classes. I don't have my phone. I don't have my headphones. So I just know that I can do my work and not worry about anything else." That's from a student in the state of New York. That's what every student is soon going to feel. And that's empowering. It makes me enormously proud to know that we did something that I think every other state should follow our lead and do. And what do the teachers say? Students are very receptive. They've been more engaged in their learning. That's exactly what we were going for. That's exactly what we strove for when we thought about this and wanted to make sure that every child could be free from the clutches of this addictive device, as I mentioned. I'm real excited that we have over 150 school districts already in the state of New York that have submitted their plans for implementation. We wanted to leave this to the localities, the local school districts, and superintendents, school boards. They're all due August 1st, which is why we're out here again, telling everybody who's a little behind in doing their homework, get it in on time, okay? Get it in on time. So I'm real excited about this because we've had so many stories across the state. Well over a year now I've been on this journey to talk to students, but also talk to teachers who are so frustrated that they can no longer make that connection, that human connection with the student because the student is staring at their phone all day. The superintendents, the school boards, parents, many of whom wanted to do the right thing, but it was just too hard. It's hard to make your student or your school be the ones that stand out. And there's a lot of peer pressure, even among adults. And I heard from some teachers say that they didn't want to be the bad cop teacher where they were enforcing their cell phone policies, and others were saying, it's not a big deal, let's let the students do it. So this is what we're right setting. And it's been going on for over a decade, which is mind-boggling, that it took this long for people to start saying the effects are not good. Anybody wonder why we have a mental health crisis right now in the state of New York and in the entire nation? Our kids are struggling with depression, suicidal thoughts, particularly young girls who are enormously under enormous pressure from other girls who can be hard on a good day. I raised a daughter. I was a teenage girl one time, and there's a lot of pressure on what you're wearing and who you're dating and who looked at who and who's, there's a lot of pressure. And to have that hit you all day long when you're supposed to be learning makes it impossible to get the full education that we set you to school to receive. And so I'm convinced that we're going to have students emerge as more highly functioning adults. They'll be used to eye contact, something that we've lost art of looking at each other's faces when you communicate. They'll be able to work in groups in a collaborative way. They'll have in-person friendships. One student told me, it's my first time I've had a friend in person. She was in middle school. All her other friends were virtual. in the virtual world. She says, I never had a friend in person until we took away the cell phones. The halls will be noisy again. Not always laughter, sometimes yelling, but at least they'll be communicating. The halls and in recess and in lunches. I mean, lunch is when you're supposed to be making friendships, and they're not doing that. So as I said, I cannot say how overjoyed I am that we've reached this point in our state where we stood up for our students and we said, we have to save them, we have to help them out. And I'll close with this one reflection from another student who said, or one teacher. She says, she was the drama teacher in the school. She says, kids weren't trying out for drama and theater and musical productions because they're afraid of other students videoing them, posting it, and mocking them out. She says the number of students trying out for theater in their school plummeted. Think about that. Think about that. It's all going to change starting this September. And that's what we're here to talk about. Melinda Person, tell us how you got here.
Well, thank you, Governor. I am so honored to be a part of this effort with you. We're about to take a very bold and thoughtful step forward as a state, and you really are leading the nation in this work, so thank you. And I want to remind people that while we're talking about this as a state law, state policy, it really did come from the ground up. We had educators who were reaching out and saying, I want to teach in an environment where my students can focus, that they can actually listen when I speak and pay attention to the lessons that I've so carefully prepared. We heard from parents who said, I want my child to learn without the constant pressure of social media and the notifications of what's going on Snapchat and meet me by the bathroom for God knows what. We heard from school leaders who saw how phones were impacting school culture and climate, and were saying this is something that we really need to address. And also from students who said, we need some boundaries here. Please help us help ourselves. Give us some structure, because the students, while there may be some growing pains as we go through this with students, I truly believe once they experience school without phones and are on the other side, that they will be so grateful for all of this work. And so what has been happening since the law has passed has been nothing short of remarkable. I have seen school districts come together to get community input, to engage with parents and educators and school leadership, school boards. They are surveying, having public forums, talking through the challenges. You know, what are we going to do about this particular instance in our school, right? And that is really where I've seen the magic of collaboration happen, and it's happening in every corner of the state. And so I would say these are not cookie cutter solutions. Every district is going to look a little bit different, and that is the beauty of local control that was built into this legislation. And so the policies are due August 1st. As you mentioned, over 150 have already submitted, and others are in the process or finalizing the last details. But I'm really want to emphasize that for those listening out there, that this is not about banning technology or banning connection. This is really about restoring the human connection that has been lost over the last decade or so as phones have increasingly gotten into our students' hands more and more hours of the day. We're going to restore academic connection. I truly believe this is going to make a difference in our ability to teach and our students' ability to learn. Last but not least, I again want to thank you, Governor Hochul, for championing this effort and for trusting educators and community to design these policies and implement them with fidelity. So I can't say enough about how excited I am to see what this school year brings.
Thank you. You had a kick?